everyone, I'm with Extinction Rebellion South Australia for the Stitch It, Don't Ditch It action. We're here calling attention to the impact of fast fashion on the Earth. Fast fashion and the supply chains involved in the fashion industry are responsible for 5% of all carbon dioxide emissions. So if we want to move to a more sustainable economy, we're going to have to change the way we approach fashion. We're calling attention to this issue by mending out in Rundle Mall. So feel free to join us. We'll be here for the next hour.
Song?
Hmm?
Do you want a song?
Do you have a song about mending?
Oh, sure. Let's see if I can get Mary to sing along. Hey Mary, would you like to come and sing along with me?
Do you have a song for this occasion about about this?
Ready? I love my shirt. I love my shirt. My shirt is so comfortably lovely. Doesn't matter if it starts to fade. That only makes it nicer still.
I love that. It's great.
So, and I will now attempt to sew a button onto my favourite shirt, which has been languishing in a drawer for some time. Here's evidence of previous mending and the favouriteness of this shirt. So I know I could buy a new one. Why would you? Why would you? Look at that. It's glorious, right? So you can't even actually see that. Yeah.
Nice. I like that it's well loved. You can see that. Seems like mending.
Okay, there's another. You find another banner on.
All right, let's go look around and see what's going on here. So here we are. We're out in Rundle Mall mending things. There's a huge amount of waste created by fast fashion and the supply chains behind it, because there's a sort of planned obsolescence thing that's created by changing fashions. You always have to ditch the previous fashion and move on to the next one. There's all this unnecessary waste created. Sarah, do you have anything to say about mending? Or for the fashion industry?
I'm a little bit rusty about it, but I remember doing a lot of mending when I was a child. This is a good reminder, because these were one of my favourite socks and I nearly threw them out. Now I realised I can actually repair them. Look, aren't they great, you see? That's a jar in there, so I'm trying to do a patch here. Hopefully it will work. But yeah, there's been so much, people are totally unaware of the amount of landfill and CO2 produced by the fashion industry. They just keep producing stuff, cheap, I won't say nasty, but you know, whatever, exploiting workers in overseas countries just to satisfy the Western demand for more and more. So I don't think people are aware, and this is what we're doing today. Very peaceful sewing, mending in whatever, stitch and ditch. Right.
Thanks. So we're here in front of H&M, which is kind of a representative of fast fashion and disposable fashions. So it's not just about individuals doing mending, though that's obviously a great way to call attention to the issue, but it's also about how there's this structural issue of all of these corporations making a profit off of creating new fashions. There has to be kind of a structural change in how we approach clothing and production. Look at all these nice signs. Stitch it, don't ditch it. This is actually a movement that's beyond the Extinction Rebellion South Australia. There's people all over who are doing this action today. I think I heard about it going on in the UK as well. Lots of people around the world are calling attention to this issue of the wastefulness of fashion. Which isn't to say we don't love our fashion. In fact, I think people mend their clothing because they love it. You know, whatever your style might be. I certainly can appreciate style. I like colors. See? What are you mending here? Would you like to talk about it?
Yes, I'm mending a shirt. I love this shirt, but it's got a little hole there, and so I need to stitch it so I can keep wearing it. We don't like to throw our clothes out. We like to stitch them so they can last forever. I've got some clothes that are 30 years old.
That's amazing. Well, it shows like the kind of level of care and respect. It makes me think of like Marie Kondo. Have you seen that stuff? It's like where you thank the objects before you throw them away. It's like showing.
Wonderful. I agree with that. Yes. Yes. Don't throw it. There's we don't need our dumps filled with clothes. We don't need the landscape filled with clothes. Make sure you reuse them. You continue to use them and stitch them.
Love it. It's a nice pink shirt. Got some jeans here. Oh wow, the line's grown. Look at all these new people who are all mending together. All these people are here mending their clothing to call attention to fast fashion and how we need to have a change in how we approach clothing in the fashion industry. Oh my goodness, that's a Wonder Woman slogan. Well, that's great. Hello. Hi, I'm here live streaming this event and talking to everyone about fast fashion and sustainability. Do you have any thoughts about that? Oh, you're not mending clothing, you're making clothing, are you?
No, I'm making bleached seaweed. So this is part of a project that my partner's niece is doing for her high school.
Tell me about it.
She's making a big seaweed coral mural.
Oh, okay.
And so as part of it, I'm making bleached coral to show the effects of the climate emergency on the coral reefs. So,
yeah, well actually I'm an ecologist at the University of Adelaide, and there's someone, there are people in my lab who study coral bleaching.
yeah.
And so it's really connected to the temperature of the ocean, right?
Yeah.
So you have these extreme high temperatures which are becoming more and more common. And the coral just it's like a heat stroke for coral. This bleaching, really.
Yeah.
It's like that's the impact of these incredibly high sea temperatures on it, and there's more and more days per year every year where the temperature gets that high.
I do mending as well, so I've got my icebreaker with this little one of many patches, so a little patch on it.
Oh yeah,
So,
look at that.
yeah.
But it's still
inside.
good.
Oh yeah. And so it makes it more interesting, I think.
Well, each of them
So
is
I
a
do
story.
lots of patching and knitting and making clothes and reusing things until they fall to pieces, and then I have lots of dusters. So yeah,
Well, that's great. Thanks
up.
for showing me what
great.
you're doing.
pleasure. And have you seen my cross stitch on my back?
Oh, let me have a look. Let's see. Oh yeah, stitch it, don't ditch it. Did you do that yourself?
I did.
Oh, that's so cool.
There's an exhibition coming up in the Mill in July called Stitch and Resist.
Oh, cool.
Which is a whole lot of us made pieces, cross-stitch pieces, but with a political message.
Right.
So, like I did one queer love and love in the age of the virus, and others did some around the climate crisis.
Right.
Others did.
Well, there's a whole history of political sewing, right? Because you've got the AIDS memorial quilt, which was used as to kind of commemorate these deaths of AIDS victims that society wouldn't own or acknowledge, right? So there's this. The sewing can be a very political act, it seems.
This is great.
Yeah.
And doing it as a community project too, so
Yeah.
we both have that. And that's how Stitch and Resist was designed, so it would be people coming together to do these things as a way of meeting. So I'm part of a stitching group and we meet every month.
That's so
Share
cool.
projects and share skills and talk, and because we sit around for 4 hours watching nothing. There was a hole in the back.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess it can be a kind of social activity. Everyone coming together to mend and create and all that. It's very nice.
Social activity too.
Yeah. Right. Thanks.
Yes. I should have brought it down here for some pictures.
Let's have a look at how long this line is of menders. Look at all these menders. All these people learning about fast fashion. All right, let's talk to more people about mending and about fast fashion.
We didn't know.
No, is that
So
leather
we'll
leather
allocate
working?
an hour in a week's
You got here? Oh no, you.
This is recycled. Now this is all by Mary Heath and one of her mend it workshops. So this beautiful sewing kit was gifted to me by Mary. She had many made up, so I wasn't the only lucky person.
Wow, great.
Yes, and it could be a leather off cut that she salvaged and made up.
Seaweed for a project that I need.
Oh, that's cool. Just a little spare scrap of leather repurposed to this new thing.
Yeah.
Look at that.
It's great, isn't it? So,
So that's what I'm saying.
felt in between. This is my
You joining us for some mending? Oh, wonderful. Get out your chair and join us. The line is getting longer and longer. Look at that.
Yes, well, we thought we would pair up as a bubble, as we are.
That makes sense. All right, let's ask some people here about why they care about this issue, why they like to mend their clothing. Chris, would you like to talk about fast fashion and mending?
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. Oh, wait, your sandwich is still here, right?
Yeah, it's here.
Yeah, okay, great. Need your lunch. I'm actually really terrible at this. This is a job that I kind of exchange with other people for other jobs. So, but I'm sewing a button on my trousers, and which I got from an op shop. I got from Savers, which is really great. And then I've got a massive hole in these pants as well.
Oh dear, look at that.
So I don't know how that's going to go because I'm pretty terrible. I can disguise my terribleness at sewing behind a button, but the rest of it, yeah. But fast fashion, yeah, it's pretty terrible. So the guys behind us are like I think the world's second largest clothing producer, and the emissions from like fashion and all of the associated sort of industries around it, so shipping and all of that kind of stuff is like 5% of the CO2 emissions. So we really got to like slow down, you know. Like the most sustainable clothes that we have are the ones we're wearing right now, right? And
Yeah.
so like, you know, we should mend them and look after them. It's great. You save money. It's really useful basic skills. So
Well, I've actually read an article recently about how with COVID, there's actually been a rise in super fast fashion. These kinds of online retailers, they don't have any brick and mortar stores, and they have a new collection every week practically. It's like this super fast turnover. It's not just seasonal, but it's this constant refreshing of new clothing, and people have it shipped to their homes when they're, you know, sitting in lockdown or quarantine or whatever. So you might have thought that COVID would slow it down because people don't have to wear their clothes out and about as much. But actually, if anything, there's been this kind of hyper acceleration of super fast, flimsy fashion.
yeah, I mean, I think the other thing maybe to point out is that there's also people in other places doing this. And
Oh yeah, I mentioned that. I heard there was in the UK, right?
Yeah, so there's someone in the UK that had started it. There's, I think it kind of originated from someone on Instagram who does lots of different sort of stitching called Don't Ditch It, Stitch It. but they also sort of came up with the whole branding and everything as well.
Yeah.
So if you're on Instagram and do like hashtag stitch it, don't ditch it, or don't ditch it, stitch it, you'll find all this kind of stuff. And if you're at home, like you can always just like do this yourself and post, you know, pictures on our Facebook page or Instagram, use the hashtag, like, yeah, it's good stuff.
Cool. All right, thanks for telling me about it.
How's my button looking? Is it looking okay? Like, behind the scenes it's terrible, so I'm not going to turn it around. But
I mean, I can see little bits of stray thread coming around the edge. You see that?
Yeah.
So you might want to...
Oh, I think that's the old one. I didn't really pull out. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's the old bit of thread.
There you
Okay.
go. You'll neaten it up.
Yeah. Yeah, don't worry. It'll look perfect soon.
Yeah, I mean, to me, from my point of view, what's happening here is that, you know, like obviously, you know, we're doing this individual thing of mending our clothes, but you know, we're doing this symbolically of a larger issue, because, you know, each individual mending their own clothes, it's not enough. We have to have this whole structural change and change the way that we approach production and how we approach waste on a societal level.
Yeah, I think there's an important connection there between like individual and collective action.
Yeah.
You know, so like sometimes individual action can move markets and whatever, but also the large collective kind of, you know, things that you can do at a government or, you know, corporate level can actually help empower people to do like things individually. Yeah.
And in terms of calling people's attention to the issue, I mean, a company changing their policy is something that's hard to grasp, but seeing people out here mending their clothes is something very concrete that everybody can understand.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, it's very like peaceful, kind of like, you know, it really plays into the non-violent stuff. And
well, yeah, that being, of course, one of our principles at Extinction Rebellion, and it's it's calling people's attention to the issue in a non-violent way. We're kind of in the middle of foot traffic, but we're not, you know, not doing anything violent. We're just peacefully mending our clothes and doing something positive.
Yeah, and it's quite inviting. There's lots of people you can just see just walk up and say, "What are you doing? What are you doing here? This is pretty strange." So, yeah. Sweet. Well, I better get this done, and I got this
All right.
the pants going. So.
All right, I'm gonna walk along the line. The line keeps getting longer. Let's see what else. What's new on the line? You like to talk about what you're mending right now?
Yeah, I'm actually making a Wonder Woman cloak. Made it out of a shopping bag, and the other side of the bag was another Wonder Woman cloak. Which I've given to my granddaughter, and now I'm going to give this one to another little girl, because I reckon the women of the future will need to be
How do you
super
start
women.
and finish it?
I love that.
Slip out. Yeah.
So tell me about the choice to make clothes instead of buying them, because of course, you know, you can get like a Wonder Woman cloak at a store, but you know, you're making it yourself. So what is that like? Why are you doing that? What does that mean to you?
Oh, well, partly it was sort of like I saw the thing and I thought I could make that into a woman cloak, a Wonder Woman cloak, and it was exactly the right colours, and it was also exactly the right shape. So, the other thing about it, my granddaughter, she's only little, and as soon as she sees a scarf or anything like that, she just drapes it around her neck. She's sort of like, I'm a fashion item. So I thought she wants to wear a thing like a cloak. Yeah, and it's sort of like, it's more fun. You've made something really individual that nobody else will have. It's really great. Yeah, I love doing things like that. So I like to do things like, you know, I used to make t-shirts actually, which was so easy. And out of 1 metre of t-shirt fabric, you can get a t-shirt for an adult and a little one for a baby as well. You know, you just cut them out and it all fits in the same piece of material.
Well, that's really nice, because you're making sure you're not wasting any fabric, and,
exactly.
and you're using it all. So
yeah, it's really
great.
Fun. It's really fun. Yeah. But I like mending stuff as well. I mean, I've got my gardening trousers with me, and I'm just going to mend them now because I put secateurs in the pocket and they work their way through.
I can imagine how that would happen, yeah.
Yeah, so I've got to stitch them up, and it's really, you know, I'm always you feel this cold feeling, and it's the secateurs working your way down your leg.
Oh no!
Because they've gone through the hole. Yeah, and also what's a little bit more hazardous is I usually have a knife for gardening with. And
Oh,
it's,
yeah.
You know, and it sort of goes shoom, down the leg. Yeah, yeah. Hopefully it lands in your sock. Yeah,
Oh,
so I'm
that's
always
great.
mending stuff. You know, it's sort of like good fun. But here I'm going to be putting the black edging on that with stitching and texture, and then make it. Actually, this Wonder Woman logo is a really good example of a sort of a. It's like modernist architecture, or even even sort of a little bit Art Deco sort of architecture.
Yeah, yeah.
So I really like the design values of this stuff too. You know, it's probably copyright. Ooh, don't tell anybody that.
That's fine. You're just making it for yourself. You're not selling it or
Yeah,
anything.
that's true. That's
so
true.
no,
yes.
no problem with that.
Yeah, I haven't had any huge demand on this item yet that I would make me sell it.
Yeah. Thanks for telling me about your project.
And it's such a fun event. This is so lovely. People keep coming and having a chat.
Yeah, they want to know more about what we represent here. It's great.
Yeah, good.
It's hard to find the original.
So many nice Stitch It, Don't Ditch It signs. Look at that. That's craftsmanship. Or craftswomanship, or however you like it. Nice and sociable, isn't it? People chatting while they mend their things. Oh, look at that. What have you got there?
Just a patch from my gardening jeans.
It's a nice patch.
Who doesn't want to save their most comfortable pair of jeans?
Right, yeah, of course.
But it's no longer suitable for work, so gardening time instead.
That's great, reusing it. I love that. It's beautiful. Oh, do you mind? I just like these designs a lot. Oh. Yeah, no, go ahead. Go ahead. Don't let me interrupt on my account. I'm just documenting what we're doing here. All right, let's continue on.
All right.
I'm reconsidering, how much to get involved.
Some nice darning of socks going on here. You have good techniques putting a sock on a jar. It's a great idea.
My favourite socks. My favourite socks. They're looking a bit mealy, but they're very warm.
Oh yeah, I bet.
They're very good. And I've repaired numerous socks because I hate throwing out socks. Particularly warm, woolly ones that don't make me itch. Fantastic ones.
So what does mending mean to you? Why is it important to you?
Oh, because first of all, I say I love to mend things that I love to wear, and also because I am aware that so much of what I've bought is actually, well, at the moment, not reusable.
Yeah.
You know, you can't. It has to go to landfill.
Right.
And you know, I try to do all I can with rags and everything. There's a limit to the number of rags I need.
Yeah.
And and if it's got elastane and you pour through it, then you can't put it in the compost heap. So I'm on a mission to repair everything I possibly can. And I've just heard about a recycling shop, clothing shop on Harley Street. So I'm going to go and investigate that.
Oh, cool. What's that all about?
Yeah.
Do they like upcycle clothes or that sort of thing? Where you
I think so. Somebody here said that the person who runs the shop stopped by and admired our action here.
Oh, that's so cool.
And said maybe we could do something
together.
Wow, that's so great.
Because they do upcycling and things like that. So.
Well, I think it's really positive that you know, lots of people around here believe in reusing clothes and not wasting them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've done it with jeans, I've done it with shirts, I've done it with jumpers. I mend my favourite icebreaker tops with holes. I've become a hole darner par excellence.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. And what about you? What do you mend?
Oh, me? Well, I didn't bring my mending today because I'm here hosting this live stream. But you know, I get holes in my socks all the time because I cycle everywhere. So you know, it wears down your socks.
That's what happens.
Yeah, really does that. So I try to mend holes in my socks. I have a T-shirt I need to mend. I love this shirt. I've had it for a long time. I think I bought it. I think I've had it for like 10 years or something. It's like a lime green T-shirt with this with like different animal prints on it. Like it's got all these like a zebra area and a leopard area, like black on lime green. I love this shirt very much, and I've had it for a long time, and I would never want to throw it away because it's just such a cool shirt. So I gotta mend the holes in the shirt. I would have brought it if I weren't streaming this right now. But
well, some clothes are precious for all sorts of reasons, aren't they? And I've got a women's liberation T-shirt from that I got at a conference, a women's conference in 1978, I think, or 9, somewhere like that, early one, and it's almost see-through. But I do keep it because, it's special.
Yeah, do you? It's a great idea because the rest of the shop is excellent. It's just at the bottom.
Yeah, no reason to waste it.
How are you? Here we are.
Hello. Fancy seeing you.
Well, mending clothes feels like the opposite of fast fashion. Mending clothes feels like the opposite of fast fashion. It's like instead of like needing to always move on to the next fashion, it's about loving and appreciating the fashions that you have.
Yeah. I always wait for the fashions to come back, and then I wide trousers, narrow trousers, but mostly I ignore it. But you know, I'm not exactly a fashion queen.
Well, even if you are, I mean, you can make really cool, edgy fashion items out of upcycling.
Yeah, I mean, back when I got involved with feminism and so on, people were really trying to push back against being forced into fashions. But sometimes it went the wrong way, and there are some people whose creativity comes out in their clothing and what they wear. So, not being that sort of person myself, I do appreciate people who love to create things, beautiful things to wear.
Yeah.
So, and some of them I have myself, so I'm very pleased to have them. But yeah, that's. But not being a slave to fashion, but actually getting them because you like them, keeping them if you continue to like them, and every now and then. My fashion consultant friend here tells me that that's probably not the thing to wear. And it might get consigned to the gardening department.
Well, there you go. You don't have to throw it out. You can just wear it when you're gardening.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. There's a lot of things I wear gardening or building or doing something. Okay, done my sock. Oh, that's very fancy.
Pack. I'm low in battery, but I'll try to keep this live stream going as long as I can. Lots of people mending. Hello, Marie. What have you got there?
I'm fixing my button on my shirt.
Oh, all right.
I'm just almost finished it finally.
That's great. So what brings you here? What has you excited about mending?
Well, as you can see by my jeans and by my t-shirt, this is one of my favourite t-shirts.
It's great.
I prefer to mend things where I can because it's less impact on the environment. I'm not going out buying, spending money on cheap clothing that doesn't last as long as if I sit there and spend the time mending it.
Yeah.
And I'm not producing that extra waste that our big companies like the one we're sitting in front of are producing.
Right, right. That's true.
Such a problem. They're actually doing research into recycling 10% of their waste, and they have tons of it in a year.
Yeah, that's certainly true. Well, and all the polyester. I mean, so I'm an ecologist, and I've read this research where they've looked at oh dear, there's a plane going over. But they've done research where they've looked at air and water, and this polyester, like these kinds of like clothes made from fossil fuels, right?
Yeah.
They make these little microfibers, and they get everywhere. I mean, they find it in the air, in the water, like all over the place. It's like you can hardly find a place on Earth where things aren't covered in this polyester stuff, and it doesn't break down the same way that the natural fibers do. So, the waste from these clothes can be a lot more insidious than you might think.
Oh, definitely, and like they're looking into the problem themselves and trying to resolve it. There's a great article in The Guardian about that.
Oh, wow.
Which is where it made me more aware of how many tons and tons that they produce and how many goes into landfill. And it's just a waste. It's like, why produce it when you know there's so much of it just going into landfill? Cut down what you're producing. Stop the polyester.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the kind of big change that we need to cut down on waste. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That's why I thought I'd come out here and I would fix my button.
Yeah, it's great.
I'm not sure how old the shirt is, but I know these jeans are about 20 years old.
No, that's wonderful. Love that.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
No problem. I gotta get a haircut.
All right. Let's see what's going on.
I'm getting.
Oh, there's a lot of holes in that.
A lot of holes. I like to think I'm getting better at it, but I'm not sure if that's true. But anyway, I've got a lot of practice. Yeah. It's very satisfying when it's done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet it's satisfying.
Did you buy them in Tassie?
No, they're actually from New Zealand. They're from somewhere, the land of Merino.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and these are, speaking of fast fashion, these are the great kind of thing because they're often just making offcuts. So where somebody's made leggings or dresses or whatever, you kind of end up with little scraps of fabric that can be used to make things like, I've got a friend who makes like wrist warmers and scarves and like beanies and stuff. So I feel like this is a good kind of sustainable thing that somebody's turned some offcuts into.
Right. So it might have been leftover fabric from some other project to make a wrist warmer.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. So it's such beautiful fabric that it's so great that it kind of gets used.
Nice.
Again and again, so I'm trying to keep the life going.
I love that. Seems like you're kind of an experienced stitcher.
No, I'm very haphazard.
Oh, really?
But when I discovered all of these holes, I was just like, well, I'm just going to have to practice, and I'm sure I'm not kind of doing the proper darning, but I am reducing the holes.
That's true.
So that feels good enough.
So what does mending mean to you? What brings you here? Like...
I've always kind of grown up with that attitude of, we can fix it or we can make it. That's my mum's favourite line when we were in a shop would always be, oh, I could make that. So I think the idea of, of making the most of what we've got, I try and buy good quality things so that then, if they do break, it takes kind of longer for them to fall apart. But I can keep using them, and, these have a special kind of memory attached to them. And what a waste for it to go into landfill. But
yeah.
Even the process of mending, it's quite delightful. you know, mending some clothes, having interesting conversations. It's quite a meditative kind of thing.
Well, yeah, I bet. And then people are stitching together and they're just hanging out while stitching, and it seemed very sociable.
That's right, and I've had some lovely conversations with people as they've come through, and you know, they say, oh, I stitch at home or whatever. So yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Thanks for telling me about it.
No worries.
Alright, my phone is running out of battery, so I'm afraid I'm going to have to conclude this live stream for now, but we're still going strong, so if you want to join us out here, feel free to join us here in front of H&M, Rundle Mall. Stitch it, don't ditch it. You can take pictures of your projects and use that hashtag stitch it, don't ditch it, and call attention to the issue of fast fashion and the CO2 emissions that come from it.